Hello, my people. Good day to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time zone you are listening to this, thank you for tuning in every single day to listen to me on Daily Mind Shift. My name is Michael Ojuola from Mindset Transformation Africa, and in today's episode, I want us to talk about boundaries, healthy boundaries. All right, let me anchor today's episode on this statement. Having healthy boundaries protects your purpose and prevents gradual erosion of your energy. Having healthy boundaries protects your purpose and prevents gradual erosion of your energy. I want you to think about a beautiful, thriving garden, all right? For it to flourish, it needs sunlight, it needs water, it needs fertile soil, but it also needs a fence, like a boundary. This fence is not there to keep things out entirely, but to protect the delicate ecosystem within. It keeps out pests, it defines its space, it ensures that the resources within are used to nurture the plants, not to fight off external threats. All right. Without that boundary, the garden will be constantly under siege. Its energy slowly depleted. Its purpose to grow and produce will eventually be compromised. Many of our lives without such fences. We operate with open gates, allowing demands, expectations, and requests from others to pour in unchecked. We say yes when we mean no, out of a desire to please, out of a fear of conflict, or even a misplaced sense of obligation. We overcommit, overextend, and overdeliver, often at the expense of our own well-being and our deepest goals. This lack of boundaries doesn't usually result in a sudden dramatic collapse. Instead, it leads to a slow, insidious drain. It is the gradual erosion of energy. It is the feeling of waking up tired, of being constantly on, in quote, of feeling resentful towards the very people we are trying to help. It is the creeping realization that we are spending all of our time fulfilling other people's agendas while our own purpose languishes. This is the mind shift that we need to make today. Boundaries are not walls built out of selfishness or hostility. They are essential structures built out of self-respect and clarity. They are the defining lines that say, this is where I end and you begin. This is what I am responsible for, and this is what I am not responsible for. So let's talk a little bit about how having healthy boundaries protects your purpose and prevents this gradual erosion of energy. The first thing you need to know is that boundaries protect your purpose. Your purpose, your overarching goals, your deepest values, the unique contribution you want to make to the world, it requires dedicated time. It requires dedicated focus and energy. It is a fragile flame that needs protection. So when you lack boundaries, your time and energy are constantly siphoned by the urgent demands of other people. You become a firefighter, constantly putting out other people's blazes rather than an architect building your own vision. Healthy boundaries act as a shield for your purpose. So by learning to say no to things that do not align with your goals, you create the space that is necessary to say yes to the things that do. You prioritize your own agenda. You ensure that your most valuable resources are directed towards what truly matters to you, rather than being scattered to the wind. Boundaries allow you to stay on course, even when the world is trying to pull you in 100 different directions. See, and also, boundaries prevent the gradual erosion of your energy. Every time that you agree to something you don't have the capacity for, every time you tolerate behavior that drains you, every time you take on someone else's emotional baggage, you are springing a leak in your energy reservoir. Over time, these small leaks lead to profound exhaustion and eventual burnout. Healthy boundaries plug these leaks. They prevent you from overcommitting your physical, mental, and emotional energy. They allow you to manage your capacity effectively. So when you establish clear limits on what you will and will not tolerate, you stop the constant drain. You preserve your energy for the task, for the relationships, for the pursuits that replenish you rather than those that deplete you. Also, boundaries develop resentment-free relationships. It encourages resentment-free relationships. See, it is a common misconception that boundaries damage relationships. No, in reality, the opposite is true. When you lack boundaries, you often end up doing things out of obligation, which breeds resentment. This resentment is toxic. It slowly poisons the relationship from the inside out. Healthy boundaries, communicated clearly and respectfully, actually strengthen relationships. They create predictability and safety. See, when people know where your limits are, they know how to interact with you respectfully. And when you give a yes, it is a genuine, wholehearted yes, untainted by resentment. See, boundaries allow you to give freely because you are giving from a place of choice, not compulsion. So, how do we now establish and maintain these healthy boundaries? You need to be self-aware, you need to be courageous, and you need to consistently practice it. The first thing I need you to know is you identify your limits. You cannot set a boundary if you don't know where your limits are. So pay attention to your physical and your emotional responses. When do you feel resentful, drained, or overwhelmed? These feelings are often indicators that a boundary has been crossed or a boundary needs to be established. And number 2, clarify your priorities. What is your purpose? What are your core values? When are you clear on what matters most to you? It becomes much easier to identify what you need to protect and what you need to say no to. See, your priorities are the compass that guides your boundary setting. And number 3, practice the art of the graceful no. Saying no is a complete sentence, but it can be difficult to deliver sometimes. Practice saying it clearly, saying it firmly, and saying it without over-explaining or apologizing excessively. You can be polite and respectful while still holding your ground. I love to help, but I don't have the capacity right now. Boom. It's a complete statement. It's a perfectly acceptable response. So whoever doesn't understand that, they are trying to push your boundaries. So also communicate your boundaries clearly. You don't expect people to read your mind. Clear communication will prevent misunderstanding and it will set expectations. Start small, right? If you think it is overwhelming to set boundaries, just start small. Build your boundary muscle. Say no to a minor request, and then you set boundaries around some specific time of day in your life. Anticipate pushback too. You need to expect people to push back on your boundaries. But I will advise you, stand firm in your limits. Their reaction is about their own adjustment. It's not necessarily about the boundaries you set. It's the fact that they don't want to adjust to your boundary. And the last one is to reframe boundaries as self-care. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is an act of profound self-care. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and boundaries are how you keep your cup full. So this mind shift is about recognizing that your energy and your purpose are finite and precious resources. It is about understanding that you are the sole guardian of these resources and that establishing healthy boundaries is your primary tool for protecting them. So I challenge you today. Identify one area in your life where your energy is leaking, where a boundary is needed. And I want you to take one small step today to establish that boundary. Say the no, all right? Communicate the limit. Protect your space, protect your peace. Make this a consistent practice, and you will see as your purpose flourishes